the beyond yoga ego must take over you. Now the question comes, when we don't know what is beyond yoga, how can we surrender to it? By knowing its laws. We don't see electricity, but you can use electricity. How? By knowing its laws. And the principal law is that you attract what you aspire for. That is the first law you have to remember. It is irrevocable. You will get what you aspire for, not what you wish for. You should understand the difference between a wish and an aspiration. Generally, when I go to my first BSc class, I used to ask them, why have you joined this MPC group? All of them answered, because they couldn't get a seat in engineering. Then I said, you didn't get a seat in engineering because you only wished for it. You didn't aspire for it. Because you didn't get an engineering seat, okay, next best, then next best. That is not the process here. All life is yoga. That is what you have to continuously remember. And what is yoga? Progress in evolution. And how can you proceed in evolution? When the higher transforms you. You cannot transform yourself. It is always the higher power which transforms the lower power. In this series, we have first the Annamaya and Pranamaya koshas transformed by the vital power. The physical body now, this body with our nervous system. Actually, until and unless you have some problem with it, you are not conscious of it. Not being conscious of your body itself is a proof that you are healthy. One of my gurus used to say, when someone complained that he has got a headache, he said, naturally, it proves that you know you have a head. Do you understand the subtlety of the humor? If you are healthy and if you are utilizing your head, you don't know that you have a head. Do you feel it? You don't feel it. But when you are conscious of your body, what does it mean? That there is something wrong with your body. So what does it convey? That some higher nature, now for all of us, the desire nature has transformed our body in such a way that we react for your desires immediately and instantaneously, especially for the animal desires. Many of the thefts are caused because of hunger. Later, something else. So, ahara is the first cause for mismanagement of the body or misuse of the body. So, the desire transforms the body. Mind should transform the desire. That has not happened to us. For majority of us, it is the desire which is more important than the mind. That is why it is said as the desire mind or kama manas. In our yogic literature, we call it kama manas, where your desire is 90% active and thought is only a process of how to get your desire fulfilled. Even the mind you use is not a pure thought. It is only a process of how you want to get your desire. So what I want to convey is, the higher fashions the lower. Now if you allow your mind to be fashioned, the supermind has to fashion it. Because mind by itself can't fashion it. You have to go to a higher power. So that is the basis. Our mind gives us a feeling that we are real entities, Later we will discuss about the philosophical concepts. You just accept it, that it is our ignorance that gives us a feeling of egoism. That you feel that you are you is actually a misnomer. That is the beyond ego state. So you allow the beyond ego state to mold your ego. How do you do it? Certainly there is no shortcut or easy sadhana. That's the problem. There is no shortcuts. And the desire mind always wants shortcut. Always. It requires a colossal faith, and whenever we read Sri Aurobindo's sentences, every adjective has a meaning. They are all mantras. So just faith is not enough. Yes, Sri Aurobindo has said, yes, the supramental descent will be there. Yes, the world will change. That is not required. What is required is a colossal faith. Can you understand what it means? High magnitude faith, an absolute courage. And when once you start on this way, your own mind and your own desires sometimes tell you, probably I can't do it, because we lack in the faith. Then what do you have to do? You should have the courage. And what type of courage? Absolute courage. And above all, that is what we don't have, unflinching patience. And that is where many times I think we can have Shirdi Sai as a role model for our starting stages. Shraddha, Saburi, faith, patience. And then Allah Malik. Having complete faith in the divine. So in the initial stages of our sadhana, probably Shirdi Sai is the best role model. As for intuitive mind sadhana, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is the best model. So all these have to be integrated. All these personalities, don't think as them as a personalities. They think them as a role model for our mental body to copy till we can reach that stage. And the absolute stillness of mind, that is what Ramana Maharshi has given to the world. Be still and know that you are God. And in the divine works of yoga, when Sri Aurobindo talks about concentration, he mentions about the stillness. And many times there was an interaction between Sri Aurobindo, Ramana Maharshi, and I don't know whether you have heard his name. He is known as Nayana, Kavya Kantha Ganapata Muni. He went to Sri Aurobindo's ashram where mother received him and gave him some important suggestions. So what I want you integrate all these sadhakas and teachers so that you can reach your inner guru. And once you reach your inner guru, you are on the path of the integral yoga. Next. From one stage to one stage to one stage to one stage, even in education, it happens. First is, suppose one is in the 8th class. So what does his ego do? He tried to understand the entire knowledge of 8th class. When it understands the knowledge of 8th class, he has to give an examination. And you remember when Sri Aurobindo said that all life is yoga, every problem is an examination of the truths you have understood and how you are going to put it into practice. So don't try to run away from any problem. You start from where you are.